Three, two, one. I think we're live. Today we are at, there we go. I had to adjust exposure there. So, welcome to the live stream. Let's make sure you guys can hear me. Checking, checking. If you can hear the audio, let me know. I think it sounds pretty good. Let me adjust something real quick. All right. So, we are here in New York City. Hisense has been generous enough to create this room for me to show off the 116-inch or 116 UX. It's amazing how small this TV looks. I know you guys are going, wait, 116 inches, how can that be small? So I had a measuring tape and I was testing, wait a minute, this TV from 10 feet away, which is where my computer and monitor is in the back, right? So as I watch content with you guys, and we'll go over a bunch of content as well as the audio. That thing is shockingly good. So I'm like, wait, I'm 10 feet away, maybe 10 and a half at most, and the 116-inch feels smaller than what I normally sit at a movie theater. So to give you context, right? At a movie theater, it feels like the screen is this big with about this much space of peripheral vision. That's how far I sit. This TV from 8.5 feet away is still a little bit smaller. I was like, so I can sit 8.5 feet away from 116-inch. The biggest obstacle to getting this TV is obviously right now it's $30,000. So wow, right? But today what we're going to look at is the performance of RGB mini-LED. In the context of, a lot of you have asked, well, if it's really bright in a dark scene, and all TVs have blooming, mini-LEDs specifically, does that blooming, if it's colored, is it a white blooming, which is what happens in the old days? When I say old days, everything before RGB mini-LED, right? In the old days, if you had color and it was blooming, then, wait, Brian's calling. Why is Brian calling? right, Brian, you should be here. Then what happens is it's a white bloom. So if it's like bright red color, it would be a white bloom that's on the TV. And with RGB mini-LED, what happens is the blooming isn't white, it's the color of the bright whatever color it is. So if it's like a red light on a street sign in the dark, then the blooming would be slightly red. And actually that's consistent with how you perceive brightness. And so they're saying, even though it may be technically blooming, your eyes won't see it as blooming because the color is consistent, right? Because back in the past, maybe a year ago before RGB mini-LED or Samsung's RGB micro-LED or Sony's RGB LED, what happens is that bright red, the blooming around it is actually white and you can see it clearly. But if it's red, then it feels like it's not really blooming. So that's the theory. We're going to test that with some of Jennifer Gala's content. I know, I see you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for providing us with amazing content. I found some really good stuff that will test RGB mini-LED and all the variations from the different brands in the coming months and years to see how well they control that blooming with that color transition. So perceptually, it doesn't feel like it's blooming. And now, the first thing I want to do is, before we get into the scenes though, because it's easy for me to switch my microphone, I'm going to have you guys listen to the audio. And so I'm about 10 and a half feet away, and I had the volume at 35, and it was all encompassing. We're talking not just the volume, just the scale. So I'm going to use my professional microphone to try to get that, right? So right now I'm using my lav mic so I can speak clearly, but I'm going to switch over to my Sennheiser through the camera to better capture the full range. It's not going to be full range, but I'm hoping it captures at least 85% of what impressed me so much about the audio in this TV. And I think for the first time with a TV this size, what you can get is full audio without going to a soundbar. Now what the soundbar will add is if you get one that has full immersion, meaning multiple speakers, like the Quad or any of the Samsungs or even Hisense will have their own multiple speaker system, that gets you that immersion. But if that immersion, you can add later, this TV audio blows away any soundbar without a subwoofer. Now the sub or the mid bass is pretty good, but it's not a true sub. So if you want to add a subwoofer, you're gonna have to get the soundbar and sub combo. But, well, why don't we listen real quick? And what's interesting is, so this is we've heard Harman Kardon, JBL, Bose, and with TCL it was B&O, Bang & Olufsen. Hisense has found a different brand to match with, and that's Devialet, right? Is that how they pronounce it? The Devialet sound system. Let me turn down. There we go. So it should be, hopefully you guys can see that. I think exposure is still too high. There we go. Okay, so it's the Devialet sound system, and it's a small French brand, super expensive. They have this amazing small little speakers that rumble. They are very good at creating bass with small enclosures. So I'm glad they kind of matched up with them. And yesterday we were at the FIFA game and we saw Paris Saint-Germain, right? They completely dominated, and what a theme. So you got Paris and a French brand. So let's get into the audio sample real quick. I'm gonna use my own production of some of the content I found, and you're gonna check out the actual audio. This is the first time I'm trying this, so hopefully it works out well for you guys. So let me make sure I have the right audio up. Check, check. All right, that's correct.
It's gonna be alright. How can you tell? Yeah, yeah. I feel it in my heart. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, yeah. The sun is shining bright to another day. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, yeah. Hey, the first you don't succeed. 3,000 miles from home, trying to say that I will get there soon. 30 days I walk down this way, singing my madness to the moon. I met a cat on a tree, and it talked to me about things we don't see. I asked it, how do I know which is the right way to go to get me home? And it said, don't look for a reason, don't look for another way, 'cause anyway we'll get you home. You can't get lost if you don't know where you go, and anyway we'll get you home. Is the right way they say, if you just go your way home. No, you are imposter, just go and trust yourself. my attention, baby. I can't make a move. Like a child, strong for love. I'm still there, son of a head. I'll cry a river of tears that flows to the sea. Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on.
Okay, so I was going through your comments, and yes, it sounds loud because I said it. So it sounds loud. And I only set it to 35 volume, right? So let me show you guys real quick. What the headroom on this thing is crazy. So it's literally probably 30% of the loudness of what it's capable of at 35. It goes up to 100. I didn't even try 100. So this room is not too large, but it's large enough. It's about 40 by 20, I would say. And it's enclosed. So obviously, room boundary reinforcement gets pretty loud, even at 35. But from 10 feet away, this thing is clear. Partly it sounds muddy because of the echo, right? If any of you know anything about speaker sound demos, it's terrible to take samples in a room because of the echo, and then you have the first, second, third reflections all hitting the microphone, and they cannot be canceled out because it just doesn't work that way. You have to be in an anechoic chamber to truly capture that, which we're not, but I'm attempting to give you my subjective impressions, which is this. The clarity is spot on, but the bass probably strong down to 100 hertz, which is incredible. Most TVs will not even go that low, right? The key is if you want that bass thump, like people say it's that gunshot from John Wick and you feel it in your heart, in your chest, right? You really do need to add a subwoofer. But that's the crazy thing is all that's missing is a subwoofer. Everything else from 100 hertz and up, spot on. So my only wish is that if there's an output, a sub output, hey, Devialet, Devialet, you guys could do this on the TV preamp. Give me an output that cuts off at 120 hertz, right? Just do a flat cutoff at 120 hertz, let the TV handle everything above 120, everything below 120, output out to any sub, right? Line level, whatever. Output out, I could plug it into any sub. Suddenly, this TV becomes major, major, major impressive in terms of audio. Now, okay, we're done with audio. We're gonna go in the stuff you guys really wanna see, which is the video. So on the specs, let's talk about it real quick. On paper, it's 8,000 nits. Now, we're gonna be watching filmmaker mode because what's the point of watching Vivid? I know it'll be really, really bright, but we'll do filmmaker mode mostly because I wanna see how the colors are on the content we're pretty familiar with, and more importantly, we wanna see the blooming and stuff, right? Because the color science itself is easy to tune. It's impossible to tune blooming out. And so we're gonna test the stuff that I know they probably cannot fix. It's hardwired into the capabilities of this TV, short of making it less bright, but then you lose the specular highlights. And the only content I know that will allow me to test up to 8,000 nits or more is Jennifer Gala. And the good news is this, if you have a TV that's that bright, if you ever have content that hits the maximum capability of your TV up to that point, you never have a tone map. So we're gonna go through the settings real quick. You'll see what we're using. And then we're gonna go through some of her content. I'll try to answer your questions. I'm going solo today. And be patient. We'll see what we can do, get through this. But the next thing is, yes, let's do some real content and we'll get started. Ah, you guys see me? All right, let's do this. I have the lights on. What I'm going to do is turn off the lights, lower the lights a little bit. It makes it easier. Lower any possible glare that might affect our image quality. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming by. And thank you to Hisense for sending me to New York City to have fun with you guys. And graphically challenged. Hey, he was literally just in this room today, yesterday, tomorrow, to do the same thing. So yeah, Hisense really wanted to get this TV out. So let me go over the settings with you guys real quick before we look at Jennifer's content. So, and again, Jennifer, you're doing such an awesome job, especially this one right here. This is the content we're going to use. This specific video, I found it. I mean, look at that, right? So let's just pause here real quick, and then I'll go over, let me go over the settings with you guys. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm going to turn on the exposure because this is so bright. I think all TV makers, as a rule, when it comes to settings, it doesn't need to be that bright, folks. I mean, it's okay for the image to be bright, but the menu settings does not need to be that bright. So make sure you guys can see that. Okay, so here we are. This is filmmaker mode, right? And what I love about Hisense, if you guys don't know, if you hold down on the button, you can move it around, right? So I kind of adjusted it to the way I want it. So that's great. And here we are, filmmaker mode, picture settings, brightness, local. So these are, I spoke with their engineers, right? These are the ideal settings that are best, most accurate out of the box. Local dimming high, peak brightness on high, brightness 100, contrast 50, black level 0, dark detail off, AI contrast, well, you guys can have fun with that when you're ready. Okay, this is how bright the menu is. You see how I'm lit up? This room, the light is off, and that menu is lighting up my face. It's crazy. Okay, obviously dynamic tone mapping is off, auto for HMI dynamic range, fast light backlight, fast backlight control. So this was designed for gaming. I asked them, should I be on and off if I'm just watching content? And they said, leave it on. It doesn't affect the image quality. So I'm like, well, if that's the case, why even have that there to be toggled? So we'll see if turning it off in a future review does anything, but they said just leave it on. But it says, what is this? Backlight control improves the speed at which the backlight follows the image to reduce backlight tailing or ghosting for gamers. But this was designed specifically for gaming. So that is the setting. And you see how dark everything is. I'm gonna have to adjust my exposure. Then I put play, but let's make sure it may be bright enough already. So thank you again, Jennifer. Let me double check that exposure real quick. Okay. So this is 2000 nits, and clearly it can handle 2000 nits. No tone mapping necessary. Well, everything has tone mapping, but no dynamic tone mapping necessary, right? Natively, it's handling this, and let me adjust exposure a bit. And I'm telling you, man, this thing is a beast. There are some scenes where I will take up the exposure so we can check out the blooming. Well, let's stop right here. Okay. So what I'm looking at is on the edge where it's blue. Does it bloom blue? And the answer is, I see that it does. Well, whether this has blooming in the source or not is a different question, but it doesn't bother me at all. So let's turn up the exposure. You guys see what I'm talking about, right? Turning up the exposure right now. There we go. And as you can see, that is blue. This does give it a sense that it's not blooming and it's part of the image for sure. So yes, looks like it's working perceptually for sure. my camera is just getting killed with the brightness of this TV in filmmaker mode because it is putting out what Jen is accurately saying is 2000 nits. It is so bright. My God. I think we can stop at 8000 nits, my friends. I don't know. I know you guys want more. I know you guys want the 10,000 nit. Okay, my exposure is a bit too low now. There we go. The dynamic range of this TV is, my sensor cannot capture it at all. My goodness, this thing is definitely an engineering. I mean, look at my face, it's like totally lit up. This, I cannot wait for the next generation of RGB mini-LED TVs. So this is Hisense's first generation. We know it will come in an 85-inch, it will come in a 75, 100-inch. But this 116, I'm hoping is going to end up at Costco for, I don't know, $6,000 in 2 years. That's where things are headed. Can you imagine? But anyway, let's hit your questions and requests real quick. We need to see Netflix at some point. Yes, I think we shall. The key is, I need to do it at the end in case it gets shut down. You guys get to capture. If I do it now, it's like, oh, look, The Witcher, this guy. Boom. But remind me, we will do it before my time is up. How much time do I have with you guys? I got 30 minutes of testing material with you all. So let's mow the lawn and watch walking. Is that kind of dangerous, Moser? Are you on a driving lawnmower with a digital readout, right? So let's do some of these scenes here real quick. I found some here that I really like, and I thought Jen did a great job. It's always the black, color on black scenes, right? These are so good. The 10,000 nit content will cook your eyeballs. Yes, so this is not even 10, this is 2,000, and my eyeballs are cooked. So let's talk about how your eyes perceive light. It's one thing when it's 2,000 nits on a 32-inch monitor. It's barely a blip. Like, I have my reference monitor, it hits 2,000 nits, no problem, not super bright. When it's 116-inch at 2,000 nits, I'm telling you guys, you do not want it to be any brighter. I mean, it can go brighter, right? This is all 2,000, and look at my face. It is lighting up, and it's just a green chameleon or a snake. I mean, it's like everything is green now. At this size, you don't even need to be brighter than 2,000. This TV is capable of 8,000 nits on paper. We will get to some of Jen's 8,000 nits, but as I change the exposure, you're gonna have to see my face blistering. That's how you know it's 8,000 nits. Otherwise, right, we really don't know. But yeah, 10,000 nits will cook your eyeballs because the 2,000 nits is right now kind of warming up my nose. Did you calibrate the TV or did Hisense calibrate it? There is no calibration, CE Critic. It's just out of the box, filmmaker mode. Look at my face is all red. Oh man, you know what, let's go back real quick. That red is so deep and bright. I'm gonna pause right here. So this is out of the box filmmaker mode in its most accurate form. I need to have this next to my reference monitor so you guys can see for yourself how accurate it is. So right now, I'll tell you this, Hisense has been excellent in their accuracy. Historically, the last 3 years, I found the filmmaker mode to be pretty good. And oh man, my camera's not doing this thing justice. My goodness, this is just so good. I think that's a good one. Now, I'm gonna have the U7 and U8 next to each other, and I'll tell you right now, the U8 is more accurate than the U7, and you'll see why. So it's ironic. The U8 and the U7 are accurate in different ways. The U8 has that slight teal push, as you guys saw. The U7 does not have the teal, but as it gets darker and darker, you're gonna see the U7 be a little oversaturated, whereas the U8 holds its skin tone no matter what the gamma is, no matter what the brightness is. You're gonna see that on my side-by-side next week. So the QM8K is coming on Monday. So we'll have QM8K, QM7K, U8, U7, reference monitor. Let's have fun, right? And you're gonna be surprised. I think this is gonna be great. But yeah, it's not calibrated, but I think we're at a point where out of the box, these TVs are definitely not bad. And this thing is just so bright, oh my gosh. I think the battle for brightness is pretty much done. TCL, Hisense, Samsung. Oh, and this thing is deep yellow to the point where, because it's so bright, it looks desaturated. I'm running back and forth because it irks me that I cannot get you guys the fully accurate depth of color that I'm seeing. I mean, okay, you see that? All that is there, but look how bright it is. It's like, it's all there, what you see, the gradient, but I had to dim my camera down to capture the gradient, but now it looks dark. It is not dark. It is this gradient at a brightness that just blows me away. And it's HDR, so it's just being accurate to the source, the way Jennifer graded it. I'm telling you, they do not need to run beyond the ATF, the EOTF curve to hit this level of brightness. It's just outrageously good. Oh, this is a good one, so I'll stop right here. So we can see when overexposed, you see that yellow? So again, what we're talking about is this is why RGB mini LED is special. This, first of all, it's a slight glow. And I don't know if it's, again, the source. Jen is here, right? Is this a clean break from yellow to black? Or Jen, in your source, did you have a little of this yellow glow coming out as well? Because either way, it's yellow, right? As you see the color changes, it's consistent with that. And from where I'm sitting, if OLED got this bright, this is how it would look as well. Your eyes are like, oh, it's just super bright. And so this is the benefit of RGB mini LED. On a normal mini LED, without RGB, that would be a white glow, which clearly breaks the illusion that it's bright. So this is very cool. We know now this works very well on a first generation TV, which is like, what? But I hyperexposed it. This is what I am seeing right now. And it's just, wow. So clean. Oh, we got a super chat. Hey, thanks. Another regular, Ramesh Shudial. Hey, FOMO. As you all know, I've been asking you about this TV on Super Chats for months now. Yes, it's ready. What is the price of the 116-inch? It is launching MSRP. So I have to remind you that. MSRP is $30,000. $29,999, $99 at Best Buy. But you can't buy it yet. If you click on the link, you'll see it, right? Oh, it's there. So you type in Hisense 116 UX, it's available. Well, it's almost going to be available. When will it be available is sometime this summer. I'll ask them for a specific date and I'll post it in my video description or comment below and I'll pin it for you guys. But the reality is at some point this summer, you guys can buy it. Now you see, I have a Hisense 100-inch, bought in, now upgrade. Well, $30,000, my friend. I say wait till Black Friday because I guarantee you it will not be $30,000 on Black Friday. It would be significantly cheaper. But hey, you know, got some Bitcoin yacht money, go for it. But honestly, I think if you wait a little bit longer, you're gonna get a pretty good deal on it. Here, let me move this chat down so you guys can see the TV. So yeah, all good, my friend. But this is definitely an upgrade. Not just the brightness, the clarity with the brightness. Now, for me to personally review it side by side next to any TV, I need it down to a realistic size. So 75 inches, even 85 I could handle. Okay, 100-inch. I could do 100-inch, but can you imagine how comical it would be a 100-inch next to a 32-inch monitor? But you know what? We'll try. Any chance to see some black and white content? You know what? You ask, I will answer. Let's do that. Black and white content. I think we have right here. Look at that. Does that not look black and white to you? I think it does. Let's everyone thank Jennifer Gala for providing this content. When you buy a TV and it's awesome and it's HDR and you want to show off to your friends, go to the HDR Super Channel or Jennifer's content. So here we have this, right? So this is black and white with green lime and a lemon and a straw, but everything else is black and white, right? So let me turn it up to the right brightness exposure for you guys. And This thing is so phenomenally clear. So it's a lot brighter than that. Let me try just some more. Never ran back and forth so much before. Okay, there we go. But see, now I'm losing some of that shadow detail. So this is the crazy thing, right? This is how bright it is, right? But then if I try to capture that brightness, I'm losing all that shadow detail, which you can see here. So between this and this, you're getting an image that your eye with, what, 23 stops of dynamic range can capture. My camera is lucky to get 11 stops of dynamic range, right? So your eyes can capture the full 23 stops of dynamic range, all of this, but at a much brighter level. And that shadow detail is all evident. So it's nuts how good this is. And part of it's the size. I have to be honest. The image is great, but at 116 inches, good heavens, it just blows me away. So let's see more black and white detail here for you guys. Oh, this is a good one. Some of the stuff that Jennifer comes up with is just genius, genius. That's nice black and white, right? Let me pause there for you guys. It looks like stars almost. $30,000, is that too much? Well, and this is what we talk about. When you're talking first generation technology, woo, how about this? And I agree with Jason, 20,000 by Black Friday. And then by this time next year, maybe under 10,000. Let's stop and talk about that. By this time next year, if it's $9,999, and I'm just speculating here, would you guys pull the trigger? Because this is cheaper than any projector that provides the same level of image quality in terms of HDR impact and all the stuff you guys love. It's cheaper than any projector that could do that. Now, those projectors can go up to 150 inch, 200 inch, maybe 250 to 300 inches, right? So you have that upside. But the other side, it cannot match the HDR impact. So if you're 10 feet away, 9 feet away, this is going to be better than any projector at 115, 120 inches, right? So at 10,000, I think that's good for those considering a man cave that need this level of image quality. And that takes us to the competition. Sony will be more than 50,000, right? That's one price speculation if it comes in at 115 inch, 110 inch. And how much is Samsung's RGB micro LED going to be? We know that's coming out at 98 inches at some point by the end of the year, right? So at 98 inches, it's 16 inches smaller, so that saves a bit of money. But will it be cheaper than this TV on Black Friday, or would be the similar price? And you end up choosing this one because it's larger, unless you prefer Tizen. Hey, Christian, thank you for that super chat, my friend. Let's move on. I'll find another, whoops, what happened there? Oh, no. Oh, and let's see. Oh, I have time. I have time. The last 10 minutes, I will do, wait. I wanted to show you guys this. Oh, was that it? Oh, I missed it. Okay. Try this again. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's try some other content. We will have time for Netflix. I'll make sure to set that up with 10 minutes left or so. Christian, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Oh, we've got a couple of super chats. So, when is TCL launching their RGB mini-LED tech? Remember at CES, they showed it, they didn't talk about it. They just kind of put it out there. Because they haven't officially announced that it's coming, and they haven't said anything about a TV model or anything like that, we expect 2026 CES for it to be announced. Then it would come out oh my gosh, I'm overexposed there. Sorry, I gotta do this TV justice. I hate it when it's overexposed. There we go. It's just, wow, think it's just insanely awesome. So 2026 CES, you'll get an exact model number and maybe some estimated release dates, hopefully by summer, but we won't know until CES. That's when it'll be official. But I guess, uninformed but educated guess, probably late summer 2026, we'll see a TCL version of this TV. And Dennis Perez, thank you for that super chat. FOMO, I sit closer to a 65-inch S90D, or get an 85-inch QN90D for $1,250. Get the 85-inch QN90D for $1,250. And this is why. I sit close to a 65-inch because I'm reviewing it, right? And it's ridiculous that I'm sitting 6 feet away because I want to look at the details, but it's not immersive. It feels like I'm sitting close to a TV. So it's like I go to a movie theater to feel the immersion because I could easily sit 6 feet away from a 65 or 77-inch TV. It's not the same, mostly because the TV and the way your eyes are seeing it, it's like, well, if you take that logic, you might as well take an iPad and press it 6 inches from your face, right? You're going to get your eyes, the way it focuses, it's going to be more comfortable 7 feet away from an 85-inch. Rather than 6 feet from a 65-inch, trust me when I say 7 feet from an 85-inch, $1,250, you're going to love it. But then it always goes to use case, as we talked about. If you watch mostly streaming, movies, right, just the regular stuff, TV shows, news, the QN90D is great. You're not losing anything at all. OLED is better, like the S90D, if you're watching in a pitch dark room and you're taking advantage of that full QD OLED magic or OLED magic, and you're watching the kind of content that brings that magic out, like Jennifer Gala stuff, right? The key is, if you're watching mostly Ford and Ferrari type movies, right? Just classics, movies that are graded to look good but not have HDR impact, I think the contrast in the QN90D is actually good enough. And then it comes down to, do you prefer the size? I think the immersion at 2 sizes larger than 65-inch is worth it. So go with a larger TV. I think you will enjoy the size upgrade. And LG Brandon, hey, I guess what kind of TV you have, right? LG, maybe. FOMO, please, before the sales end this week, which TV would you get? I have $1,500 to spend on an LCD. Oh, it's not an LG after all. The Sony Bravia 7 or the TCL QM8K? Okay. Oh, Bravia 7 or QM8K. Get the Bravia 7. Mostly because the QM8K, I'm going to pause right here. The QM8K has, okay, so its skin tones are simply not as good as the Sony. If you watch a lot of dramas, the HDR impact on the QM8K is slightly better. I'll give it that, but it comes down to what's important to you, right? The QM8K will have better off-angle viewing, slightly better off-angle viewing. And that's important to some people. And I believe its gaming is slightly better if you want a bit more of that color saturation, better latency in gaming. However, for most content, the skin tones, the color out of the box, it's spot on. You don't have to worry about it. Processing of low bit rate, let's say you have a cable box, you plug it in. I trust the Sony Bravia 7 will get that right because that's what they focus on. So it comes down to your use case. Let me know, LG Brandon, what is it you watch 90% of the time? And your lighting situation, right? Because the Bravia 7 definitely gets bright enough. It's when you go off angle that you lose some of that advantage. But if you watch straight up in front of the TV, I'd say the Bravia 7 for sure. Okay. Oh wait, this is a good one. I'm gonna go back here actually. Oh, there it is. The Jumping Children. Only because it's, oh, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna pause here so you guys can see how well this thing tone maps. So this is super bright, right? And look at this tone mapping. I'm gonna go dark, lower my exposure a bit. Look at the cloud detail. Okay, I see this level of cloud detail, but it's so bright that my camera is clipping that detail. So keep that in mind, and then you go the other way. look at the detail in the clothes, right? I see that too. And this is so difficult for TV to do, is to give you both shadow detail and brightness together in the same scene. And this TV does it. And this is where I'm like, man, this is such a good cinema movie TV, because no movie will challenge your TV like Jennifer's content. And if it can manage Jennifer's content like this, then imagine, right? And that's kind of like how I look at it. So is it overkill? I think that would be the question. This is definitely the most advanced TV we have out right now in terms of the level of technology it takes to do all of this, and this is why it's $30,000. Should you get a 100-inch regular mini LED? I posted it in the video description below, which is currently $2,000 or less, right? You got the U76, Hisense U76, which is getting rave reviews. It's 100 inches, so you're losing 16 inches, but it's what, 1,700, 1,750? And then you have one that's slightly brighter, slightly better in terms of tone mapping, maybe, and that's the U7, this year's U7 at just over 2,000. Both of them are 100 inches. So I think that is such an amazing value to immersion. Now, 116-inch, okay, this is the only game in town, other than TCL's QM8K, or last year's QM8, 110-inch, I think, and that's like $15,000. So, and this year's QM7K at 110 inches, also around $15,000. So over a certain size, it takes so much technology and engineering to keep the TV together. So what you're paying for is the additional build quality to hold it together. Above 100 inches, it's a whole other level. And so that's why you're paying extra. It's not just for the image and the various microchips to make it work. It's also the physical engineering to keep the TV from falling apart in shipping and in assembling and unboxing. So that's why. There's something to keep in mind if you guys are asking, oh, why is it so expensive, more expensive than 100-inch? That is why. But they'll figure it out, and hopefully scale, economies of scale, prices will drop. Okay, I think it's time to do a little Netflix for you guys. This Netflix thing is so bright, I'm like red now. This is nuts. Okay. What we'll do, my favorite, The Witcher, just because it has a nice range and it's HDR and all of that. But at some point, I will choose something different. Okay, let's see. Oh, how many of you guys like The Old Guard too? I haven't finished watching it, but I thought it was so good. The first one was so good, I couldn't wait for the sequel. Okay, let's do this, Witcher. Here we are, HDR, 4K, bum, bum, bum. Okay, oh, this is a great scene. Oh, whoops, what happened there? Oh man, okay, we gotta watch this. This is such a good scene. I'll turn up, I have to keep the exposure low because this thing gets so bright. Look at that. Now, okay, I'm gonna pause here. It's not inaccurately bright. It's just at 116 inches, the whole room is lighting up. And honestly, this is maybe 500 nits, right? And so this is what we're talking about. This scene, the brightest part of this flame, no more than 500 nits, maybe 6, I doubt it. But when you're in a large screen, it feels like 2,000 nits, 1,000 nits. And this is why it's just so amazing to have a large TV. And so, and if you guys see me make the recommendations, I'm always like, get the 100-inch TV, almost every single time. Because if you get the 100-inch TV, pay someone to calibrate it, you're gonna get cinema-level movie watching. And Hisense is the easiest to calibrate, by the way. This year, I don't know how TCL is gonna be, but historically, Hisense has been the easiest TV for calibrators. Like my calibrator, who's done it a few times, he's calibrating TCL. I'm sorry, TCL. Maybe things have gotten better this year, but he swore that he will never come back if I make him calibrate another TCL. But the Hisense is like, oh, this is easy. I love the Hisense. It holds onto its calibration, and that was like probably a year, 2 years ago. So, you know, it's just how it is, right? Now, TCL this year has filmmaker mode, so hopefully that makes it easier for calibrators, but this is just so good. Now, let's go look at some skin tones, right? So we know this is awesome. So oh, here's a great skin tone scene. Am I gonna get called for this because it's a little bit too risque? Maybe. All right, let's turn this up. Oh yeah, off-angle viewing. You know what? Is this good for off-angle? I think so. I think we can do a little off-angle with this one. Here we go. I think that'll be good. All right. No, that's a bit too bright. Oops. Here we go. Okay, I think that captures all her skin tone. Oh, now it's too dark. There we go. Yep, I think I have it. Oh, it's still a little too dark. All right, that's it. No more fiddling. Okay. We're going to take this off angle in a second, and so you guys can see. And I want to do that last because I don't want to bring it back again and get my orientation, camera leveling all off. So I have 9 minutes with you guys, so answer some more questions, and then we're going to move it off angle, and you guys can see for yourself how well it preserves on angle. And I think at this size, it's ADS Pro. I think so, but I will ask to double check. No, wait, it isn't. I think ADS Pro tops out at 100 inches. I think this is a VA panel, but we'll see. We'll see. Actually, you know what? Let me ask the team outside real quick. Quick question. VA? VA. Ah. The team's watching the stream. The minute I open the door, he's all like, it's a VA panel. So it's a VA panel. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Hey, Leo. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Oh, you're excited. Oh, a couple of them. Okay. Oh, and imagine that. Let's see. Okay, so we'll start in order. Thank you for, oh, wait, Getty. Start with Getty. Hey, Getty, thank you for the super chat. Hey, FOMO, why can't we find the Z95B on Amazon? For some reason, it's not searchable. I don't know why. Click on my link. Go look at my video about the TV I would choose, which is the Panasonic Z95B. My link goes directly to Amazon or any of my posts about the Z95B. I'll have the Amazon link there. I don't know why you can't search for it. I think that's an Amazon problem. And that's because Panasonic told them to keep it hidden until launch, which is what all makers do. And they kept it hidden and it's still hidden. And so I have to let Panasonic know, hey, Amazon still has your product hidden, right? You have to have the direct link to get it. So go ahead and click on the link that I put in my other video for the Panasonic and you'll find it. So it's live, it's just Amazon still has it hidden for some reason. But I'll let Panasonic know. Hey, imagine that. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. FOMO, the TCL 98-inch X11K is now down to $7 grand from the initial rollout of 13,000. You guys love how things just drop in price. Will you do a hands-on review? What are your thoughts compared to the other 98-inch TVs? Okay, so here's the problem, imagine that. An X11K does not have all the advancements of the QM8K, and that bothers me a little. On the one hand, it has the most dimming zones. On the other hand, it doesn't have the WHVA panel. It also doesn't have the 23-bit backlight. However, is that important? And unless I have it side by side next to a 98-inch QM8K, I don't know how to recommend this TV because I don't want to recommend the X11K that's down to $7 grand when for a similar price or maybe less, the 98-inch QM8K might be better. So this is a hard one for me. I'm going to have to talk to TCL if they'll let me go to their studio and have them sit up side by side. Maybe that's something we can do. But yeah, at this point, I really like the QM8K at 85 inches, and I expect the 98-inch to be similarly good. I'm getting the 65-inch on Monday, so we'll see how consistent it is. But I've noticed that in LCD mini-LED TVs, the larger the TV gets, the more technology, more dimming zone is invested in the TV for some reason, and that applies to all the brands, whether it's Sony, Samsung, Hisense, TCL. It feels the larger sizes gets a little bit more love, and so the image quality is just that a little bit better. So I always tell people, when you're going for a mini-LED, get the larger TVs if you can. All right, Leo, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Which is brighter, U8QG or the QM8K? You will see tomorrow. So I have a U8Q, not tomorrow, Monday, or I'm getting it Monday, maybe Wednesday. Next week, you'll see it. I have the U8Q and the QM8K, and we'll see which is brighter. But I'll tell you right now, the U7Q is as bright as the U8Q. The difference is the U8Q is more nuanced, better tone mapping at different gamma levels, the U7Q is just a brightness beast. So if you want a brightness beast on a budget, get the U7Q. Way brighter than the QM7K, as bright as the U8Q, but skin tones are less nuanced. But if you're in a bright room watching news, TV shows, whatever anyway, don't worry about it. It's when you're in a more darker environment, watching critical movie situation, right? I'd go with the U8Q. So, but you'll see it tomorrow. I keep on saying tomorrow. Next week, we'll have all 4 TVs, QM7K, QM8K, U8Q, U7Q. I mean, these will be the value leaders for the year. And thank you again, Leo. Follow-up question here. FOMO, can you please ask Hisense, when will the U9Q release? Okay, so Hisense is right up there. They heard your question. I'll ask them right now if they can share that.
Still under development.
Still under development. So the answer is it's still under development. So we'll probably see it at CES 2026 maybe, but right now, no official announcements can be made. So I know, Leo, you're on pins and needles, but here's the good news. The longer you wait, the better all these TVs become. Okay, I'm gonna take this off angle now. So you guys had a chance to memorize the skin tones and everything, right? And what I love about skin tones is you see, or you're very sensitive to changes. I'm gonna turn up the exposure just a touch because there's a lot more color on her forehead that I'm missing here. Just a touch. I think this will do it. So that you can see the color shifts a little bit better. Okay, one more. All right, good. All right, so we're on angle. Let's take it off angle by, I'd say, I'm gonna guesstimate 30 degrees. Right here. Okay. There you go. What do you guys think? You guys could kind of scroll back and forth and let me know how that looks. But that's our off-angle test right there, guys. Nice and scientific, right? You saw it here first. Okay. Last minute questions. I have 3 minutes before they throw me out and replace me with Caleb. Caleb is doing this as well. He's like outside wondering, FOMO, taking too much time. Or we can push it until Caleb comes in with an umbrella hook and pulls me to the side. Your call, guys. Okay, dang, I want a 116 UX, but I need to find a stand for it. So, funny you should ask, I found a mobile stand that I'm using for my 98 100-inch TV reviews, right? Unfortunately, it tops out at 100 inches, and it costs like $250 because I don't want it to fall apart, and it's motorized. I suspect next year we're gonna have that stand go up to 120 inches, right? Because it's at 100 inches, and I did this for my 85-inch review. So I'm getting the 98-inch Samsung QN90F next week as well. So we're getting rid of the 85-inch QM8K, replacing it with a 65-inch QM8K, and then Samsung's going to install a 98-inch QN90F for me to review. And so as you can see, we're getting larger and larger. The question is, I cannot review a 116-inch UX, but when they come down to 100-inch, I could bring it into my studio. So, but the stand, I think it will come to Amazon sooner rather than later because these things aren't cheap, but they're built to last. And man, I love it. Any indication, FOMO, when this TV will come out in smaller sizes, like the 85 or 100-inch? Are we looking at next year, or is there a chance to release other sizes this year? It is unlikely they will release it this year because this TV is still being released. But for sure, at CES 2026, I guarantee you're going to see 85-inch sizes on display. And at that point, they'll probably be ready to share. Now, here's my hope. 100-inch ADS Pro. That needs to come out next, right? Now, this isn't bad, but I'm seeing that, yes, off angle, you're losing a little bit of color saturation. I'm going to bring it back on angle for you guys before I get kicked out because I don't want people coming, oh my God, look at that, terrible, terrible saturation. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I think there's a little bit more color when you go back on angle. Just a little bit. Okay. Wrap it up. What, is this Caleb in disguise? Come on. When he comes in, I'll come out. No, but I will wrap it up out of respect for the team that brought me here. And speaking of the team that brought me here, thank you so much, Hisense, for wait, did they turn off the to get rid of me? Oh no, I was on pause for too long. That was Roku pulling the chain on me. But a big thank you to Hisense for bringing me here. And I also want to mention today's sponsor, RUIPRO. All the cables that I use to connect everything here, from the camera to my laptop to anything, all the connections that require HDMI, because of the distances involved, as you know, everything is like 10 feet, 12 feet, whatever. I use optical cable, and RUIPRO is what I use off-site, on-site, in my studio. So I'll put it in the link in the video description below. If you guys need something that's longer than 10 feet, I always recommend copper because, I do not recommend copper. It will overheat your HDMI bus. Shorter than 10 feet, copper is fine, all right? 3, 4, 5, I use copper, not a big deal. But at 10 feet or longer, there are two issues with copper. One, it's too heavy. Two, it does overheat your HDMI bus because it's the TV's display HDMI that powers the signal, not the source. And so with an optical, they have a separate USB power source that helps power the signal, and that's why it takes the load off. And more importantly, the cable is lighter, so it doesn't weigh on your HDMI port. All right. Any more questions? Put it in the video description below, or put it in the comment section below. And any questions about future Hisense TVs, come back next week for our next live stream with the U7Q, U8Q, QM7K by TCL, and QM8K by TCL, side by side with a reference monitor. And then you will be able to buy the more affordable TV. But if you want the 116-inch and you only have $3,000 in your pocket or less, under $2,000, I highly recommend the 100-inch Hisense U7.6, currently like $17.99 or something like that. Okay, my friends, gotta go. I want to make sure you guys got all you needed to see. And my final verdict on this TV is, it is probably Pinnacle Peak Cinema 116-inch immersive TV. From 8.5 feet away, it's perfect. I have a chair there. I've been sitting there before I started this stream. At 8.5 feet, oh my God, this is perfect. So if you're at least 8.5 feet away, and a little bit farther if you want to be, 116-inch is nice. Let's wait for it to drop in price, Black Friday, hopefully next year. But until next time, my friends, thank you and be well. Stop the FOMO.